It's a motherfucking honor, man. I got Mike Phelps in the building, man.
Do believe.
Listen, I first found you out by going on Instagram Live because I used to do live music reviews. I used to do live freestyles on Sunday night. That you would come in and literally decimate the place. Like, there's no competition after you would come into any of my lives. And all I'm sitting there thinking is like, how the fuck aren't you famous? How the fuck aren't you like one of the top ranked artists in America right now? Let's talk about music in the first place. How did you gain the ability, the skill, the talent to develop the craft that you have with the music?
My dad is a musician. He played he plays trumpet. He played every instrument, and then he's a band teacher also. So I just kind of got it naturally, just watching him and then listening to a lot of music, you know. And then one day in class, somebody was beating on the table, and I just started rapping. My homeboy was like, "Man, you cold." And this is 5th grade. Every night after that, I called him with a new rap. From then to 12th grade, I had like 3,000 raps in my computer, like at that point, or whatever. By the time I graduated high school. And so that practice just kind of made me like a step ahead of most people that was my age. So once I became like of age to start rapping like professionally, I was so much further along than others because I really practiced it. And a lot of people was just kind of like, oh, I feel like I could rap. And I was like, no, I do this like as a profession. I like studied it, you feel me? So it's like, I know it's codes to how you write and things that you do is how, like, you know, a marketer at a marketing agency might say, all right, the Arby's sandwich, we're going to put the Texas hat on there because we know motherfucking hicks and hillbillies and shit be eating fucking, you know what I'm saying? You know, roast beef. So when I write, I make sure that I write something real and then write something witty because nobody wants to be depressed and nobody wants to laugh all the time. So if you put those two things back together, back to back, then you get a recipe for, like, you know, a verse or some rhymes that make people be like, you know, they feel more than one way. Because most times people make a song and it's like, for this feeling. But when I write, I make it to where you're going to feel everything no matter what I'm talking about.
Right. That's like being a student of the game to the max, basically.
Exactly.
Talk about the beginning of that. What made you fall in love with hip-hop and music itself?
Magoo was my favorite rapper. Magoo from Timbaland and Magoo.
Okay. I never heard of that.
You never heard of Magoo?
No.
Man, Magoo, he was this dude, he just had an interesting voice, and he used to rap with Timbaland. When Timbaland first came out, they had a group called Timbaland and Magoo, and they had a song called Up Jumps the Boogie. And it changed my life. I went and bought the cassette and everything, you feel me? And I was like, I might have been like 9 when that happened.
Yeah.
And it was just, it changed my life because the beat was so hard. And then they was rapping simple, but it was kind of silly. So it was like, as a kid, I kind of liked it. I liked how his voice was silly. And so then once I got older, obviously I realized, like, all right, he's not probably the best rapper for me to be looking up to. And then I heard Fabulous say, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, damn. He said that shit on Superwoman, this Lil Mo song. And I was like, I don't know why I like that. And then I bought his album, and that's how I learned how to rap. I listened to Fabulous over and over and over and over again when I was like in 8th grade.
Jesus.
And so I remember the day the Towers dropped, I bought his album. I was getting a twerk at Jefferson from this girl, I ain't gonna say her name, but I was getting a twerk in the classroom because our science teacher was never there. We always had a sub. So I was getting a twerk and the Towers hit. And I remember my homeboy turned to me and was like, dang, look at the Towers, because we was watching TV. And it was like, look at the Towers. And then my other homeboy was like, man, we ain't going to be able to go get Jay-Z album. And I was like, y'all going to get Jay-Z? I'm going to get Fabulous album. And he's like, who is that? Well, who named they so Fabulous? And after that, I was just like hooked to like listening to the lyrics and bars and learning. And so that's how I got the love for it, you know what I'm saying, just listening to that. And then my dad put me up on like conscious hip-hop, like Dead Prez and Chuck D and shit like that, and X-Clan, shit that I wouldn't have been into but as a kid, but he kind of forced me into listening to something that was more than just like what was on the radio.
Damn. Yeah, your dad had good taste, man.
Yeah.
Talk about growing up. Are you from Detroit? Yeah,
well, I was born in Detroit, and I moved when I was about 6 because the neighborhood was just bad. It was on West Grand in 94. My dad had to have a shotgun at the door for us to walk in. It was bad. And so then we moved to Pontiac, and it was just as hood, but it just wasn't as, it's a smaller town, so it wasn't as, I didn't feel like it was as dangerous or open like that. It was real closed in, so I was able to gain a lot of, culture there. We got our own slang and shit like that, so I was proud of that.
What would you say the difference between growing up in Detroit versus Pontiac is?
In Detroit, everybody's stunting because you could not know the person, 4 doors down because the city's so big, you know what I'm saying? So you could not know who this dude is. But in Pontiac, you can't, if you stunting, you got to be able to, for real, back up your stunting because we all know you. We all in this, you know what I'm saying? I'll see you every day at the school or at the gym or whatever it is because we all in this small town. But in Detroit, you got some fake gays on and they might notice over here, but then you could go over here and they might think you a baller on the west side just because nobody knows you from over here because it's such a large area. Yeah. So in Pontiac, you couldn't do that shit. So it's kind of like you knew who had it, you know who didn't. You know what I'm saying?
This little time you did spend in Detroit, talk about growing up there. Like, what was so terrible about it, or what was the dangers of it?
Man, I just remember, like, I just remember my dad always talking about it. I was like 3 when it happened, but then like when I was like 5, I could remember him talking about it. And he was just talking about how a dude had his brains blew out of the laundromat across the street, and he walked over there and just seen the dude brains on the ground. And it's like, if I'm living across the street, he could have just had me in his arms and didn't know what went over there. And you know what I'm saying? You got your baby around a nigga with his brains blown out. So shit like that, or like, you know, people trying to break into the crib and we there. It wasn't like, you know, oh, we're going to wait till they leave, we're going to case the joint. It's just like trying to break in while the niggas is there. So my dad was like, we got to go. Because my mom from the D, you know what I'm saying? So he had a house up in Pontiac from his parents and he just moved up there. And so,
damn.
But then I moved back here when I was like 19. As soon as I was old enough to come back down here, I was working at a restaurant. I just went to a poetry spot there one night, and that's how I got into professionally doing this shit. I was doing poetry, like slam poetry, which is like, you know, like the NBA of poetry. It's competition, it's all scored, and you go to national competition. Really? So I rose, like, after my first day, within 2 months, I was on the national team for Detroit. We represented all in Madison, Wisconsin, and West Palm Beach, Atlanta, all these competitions. I was like, you know, top-ranked poet. And I met some other poets, and they happened to be rappers. We started a group called Cold Me Young. And so this group was a hip-hop group, and we came out with, like, CSF and Travis Chandler, She Feel Me Fly. All these people was all in one place. Dej Loaf, Danny Brown, Bodie James. All these people came from one, like, underground scene that was bubbling right before it got gentrified in Detroit. So from, like, I'll say, like, 08 to, like, 2012, it was an empty playground here. You could create what you want. You could do what you want. So artists wasn't getting national spotlight stuff, but we was honing that. And then it started to grow to where Dej got on. Then you see Bodie get on. Then you see Danny get on. You see all these people start to, you know, make an impact. And so now to see it where everybody is getting a chance to get on is even doper. But, like, you know, that's what really got me into it, was doing poetry. And then I got in that group, and we was opening up for RZA, Wale, Talia Kweli, Big Sean, anybody who was coming here and was doing real hip hop, we was opening up. So I learned how to perform. I learned the elements of hip hop. I learned about Jay Dilla, shit that I didn't know about before. I was just listening to Gucci and Wayne and shit. So it was like, it was just a perfect, like, recipe for me to get better, and then mix the poetry with that. I was battle rapping at the same time. So I was on Smack doing that shit. So it was like, at one time I had all of this going on, and it just kind of made me a really good artist, I think. You know, or dedicated.
That sounds legendary. Like, fucking literally legendary.
It's
like,
crazy.
Straight up. There's what separates you from, like, being on top with Dej Loaf and them? Like, if you were around them and everything's going on, you're at the same level of competence as them. What separates you from them from getting to the top?
I think as artists, just as people, we make decisions based off of kind of what you think should be the right way, what somebody put in your head about this is how you're supposed to do stuff. So for me, I thought, like, okay, if I just rap and just be as dope as I am, then I'll be good. But nobody came along and was like, all right, well, the business is this. You got to do this. Don't be ashamed to have a job. Don't be, you know, like, you're not a gangster or a drug dealer, so you don't have to portray that. You don't have to come out with ice on and stuff. Just, like, be who you are and work hard, and it'll, you know, you can invest in yourself. So I didn't know stuff like that. And then also I didn't know how to bring all that together. So at one time I'm doing battles, I'm doing poetry slams in different states, I'm doing shows with Cold Me Young and doing my own shows, I'm acting, I'm doing all type of shit. So when you're doing all that, you can't focus on one thing or focus on bringing them all together so that somebody can say, you know, oh, that's that dude who does all of these. My fan base right now is kind of like, I'll be at the gas station, somebody, you that battle rapper dude. And then I'll leave and go to the bank, and 20 minutes later, somebody will be like, hey, yo, you got my favorite poem in the world. And so it's like, I'm popular. Like, it's weird. I'm kind of popping. I be everywhere, and people know who I am. Yeah. But they know me for different reasons. So it's these small pockets of different reasons why I'm dope. But it hasn't come together as one thing, and that's what I'm working on now. This year has been trying to, you know, get my brand together and make sure that it all is cohesive. And so when niggas see it, it's like, oh, okay, this nigga's a renaissance man. Like, he's like, you know, Tupac, Wayne, and Drake all in one. You know what I'm saying? He's going to sing, he's going to do poetry, he's going to do all of this stuff and put it into one. And so once people see that, I feel like it'll put me up there with a Dage or something like that. But I'm not necessarily looking to be that either. I'm also just looking to just be the artist I am, and wherever that takes me or whatever fans fuck with me, then that's who I'm going to fuck with. You know?
Yeah, for sure, because you just care about, you love the game. Like, you love hip-hop, you love music, you love the entertainment industry. But for you, just being super, super famous and wealthy isn't like just the goal of just saying, like, this is just what I want out of it.
Right.
You actually care about music.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a lost art, and to some degree, not a lost art, but a lost thought to care about the actual industry anymore. And I think it's because, first of all, these youngsters are growing up with all this like fucking gibberish on Instagram and social media. When I was growing up, man, like, there was like Tupac documentaries dropping, this Biggie that shit's dropping. Like, you could only get a CD, you feel me?
Right.
It was harder to get a CD and shit.
Hell yeah.
Now it's just all in fucking TikTok and everything, so it's like kind of loses its resonance. How do you feel about the game from now compared to the past game, the 90s even to say, versus now?
Man, a lot of people say it's easier. I think it's kind of harder to navigate it because you're in a sea of so many people, and you have the outlet by being on the internet. A lot of people, you know, push that as a thing, like, well, you got every tool at your disposal. But at the same time, it's like, we aren't robots, we all humans. So when you have all those tools at your disposal, sometimes you don't know what to do with that. Sometimes you're just a rapper. Sometimes you're just a poet. Sometimes you're just a dancer. You might not know how to manipulate algorithms and figure out how to market and brand to this sector or whatever it is. So it's like, you know, I feel like it's kind of harder because back then, if you was dope, they gonna figure out that you dope because you have no other way but to be in front of people being dope. But now it's like, some people don't even want you to be in front of them. They kind of like, I can watch this from the internet. I don't even need to meet you. I don't need to come to your show or anything like that. But labels used to come out to shows and watch and scout, and it's not like that anymore. So I feel like it's a little harder if you're dope. Now, if you just somebody who want to make some money and get into the arts and you know how to manipulate the system, it's very easy. You can easily do it. You can buy some followers, put on a chain, throw some yays on, bust somebody in the head with a bottle, go viral, and the next thing you know, you the next nigga up. So you can easily do it, but you just have to figure out how to manipulate it. And I feel like, you know, you got two different artists, people who gonna manipulate the system and then people who gonna try to create their own system.
I'm sure people would love to know your top favorite lyricist of all time.
Number one is Wayne. I feel like he has such a vast catalog in his way of rapping in so many different ways and so many different time eras. Like, there's only like two other people who've rapped as long as him and been on the level that he's been on this whole time. And so, like, you know, his impact, he made a milli. He didn't have a hook. It was number one. Everybody know the whole verse. I don't know every girl I know a milli, but if I ask them to rap a Jay-Z verse, they might, but they might not. And they might have a hook in there to where you can remember that easy. So it's like with Wayne, it's like his lyrics was so impactful in the way he was doing it. It made everybody tune in to rap. He said, I'm the best rapper alive, and that was a stronger impact than when Jay-Z said it. Because when Jay-Z said it, it was like, okay, cool, but I think Nas is too. But when Wayne said it, people was like, for right now, yeah. For that time period where he was the top nigga, he was definitely the top. So I say him. And then, you know, it go down the list of normal people. Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, Eminem, you know what I'm saying? I'm big into Twista. I feel like he an underrated rapper, you know what I'm saying? To be able to rap that fast and nobody got to question what he say, that's wild.
What do you think about, I mean, we always talk about it on the show, obviously, but Eminem's respect in Detroit, and, you know, there's so many different sides to it and whatever, but what's your input on his impact on Detroit and where he's at right now?
Man, that man made 8 Mile. He made a movie that was about a street, and it not necessarily even in Detroit, you know, from what the, you know, movie is projecting, but like, he brought such a big attention to the city, and he did it with rapping fire. Like, he not just rapping he ain't just have a couple hits that people liked and then they started looking at Detroit. It was like, who can rap better than him right now? And it was very few people, you know, at that time when he first came out. And so I think his impact was just crazy. And then he's just a lyrical genius, you know what I'm saying? Whether you vibe with his music or not, you know, I don't know a lot of niggas who just banging Eminem, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know a lot of niggas that's fucking, you know, shouting out Ben Carson as a doctor either, but he's still a sweet-ass doctor, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't change the fact that he's not a sweet-ass doctor. So I feel like, you know, no matter if you vibe with his new music or his new style or not, like, he's still one of the best lyricists to ever do it. And to be from here where music kind of is more, I feel like, dedicated to the vibe and the culture of Detroit and the culture of just all the surrounding cities, it's like for him to just really do it off of pure lyricism and some shock value was like crazy.
Oh, for sure. No, I completely. You took the words out of my mouth. No, you didn't. You said it way better than any motherfucker has probably ever said it. Talk about Detroit right now, man, and the music scene. What's your perspective on it?
Man, it's fire, bro. It's fire. I wasn't even on it until like, you know, when Vezo came out with Money Phone, that was the first time I started to feel like, all right, it's like a buzz coming on, like a real buzz. And then, you know, years go by, you get everybody start to come in, you get your Sadas coming in, all that. And I remember the summer where Drago and Bino dropped, what was that? Sorry for the Get Off? Bro, we was banging Sorry for the Get Off. All some Marco Biddy, all that shit, you know what I'm saying? I became a big fan of them, you feel me? And it's like, I was just like, you know, really into that style. And then I started to see like, man, it's all these other people popping up. Then I heard Cash Kid. When I heard Privileges, I'm like, bruh, this nigga's snapping. Then you start to hear all these other, it's like so many artists getting shine and really putting out dope music. I think it's dope. I hope that the underground gets a little taste of that too. As big as the, you know, I'm gonna say mainstream for the sake of it being Detroit. Well, you know, like the popular street rap is really what's popular here. And if you get some of that underground in there to mix with that, and some of these R&B singers, these women R&B singers out here is fire, male R&B singers too, but like we got a lot of dope music in Detroit, and I want it all to come out kind of like how Atlanta did. And it will, you know what I'm saying? Because Atlanta, it was all crunk music and all that, but at the same time, you had Andre 3000 rapping, you had B.O.B. rapping, you had T.I. using big-ass words and shit. Like, it wasn't just all like this singular thing, and I feel like Detroit is gonna have the time for it to all come out, and when it does and people can collab, it'll be dope. Like I wouldn't call myself a street rapper, but I think I can rap with anybody based on how my style is, my personality. But like, I want to rap with Drago and Bino just as much as I want to rap with Royce. I want to rap with Elzai just as much as I want to rap with Sada Baby. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, I'm looking forward to being in the mix with all those people and being able to collaborate with all these people too, and just to see it from an outside perspective too is just is real dope. You feel me?
Have you put out music and seen reciprocation from Detroit? Have you what's been the engagement so far with what you have put out there?
My engagement has been basically a mixed, kind of going back to what I was saying about having these different sectors where I was, you know, getting this popularity in. I'll play music for people who might not have known I was doing music. They just knew me as a battle rapper, and they're very surprised. So then they get up on it. But then it's like, they found me as a battle rapper though. So it's like, oh, you a battle rapper who makes good music, rather than that's just Mike Phelps and he battle, he make, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when I get the reviews back, it's always really, really good, but it's just always like, man, I love that shit, and you just good at everything. I didn't know that. And so it's slowly growing into a point to where more and more people are saying, I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you play the piano. I didn't know you do all of this shit. So it's like, when I put all that out there, as I'm putting it out there now, the reviews have been so much better because my music is available on all platforms. Yeah. Spotify, Tidal, all that. It wasn't before because I didn't own none of my music. I didn't have any of it. So now I'm starting to own my music. I'm starting to put a team around me that's really like helping me push this shit. And that's, you know, Most Decorated, which is my homeboys Jason and Wayne and Ray. Shout out. And then Secret Garden, which is Ron Dance and Rose Spit. And, you know,
what is Secret Garden?
So Secret Garden, Ron Dance and Rose Spit. Rose Spit's a rapper, he owns Burn Rubber, and Ron Dance is just an all-around kind of Renaissance guy. He does a lot of stuff, but he hosts parties mainly. And I went to them to kind of get some guidance on how to get into the industry and get some, you know, management from them. And they really kind of, you know, helped me out with a lot of different things, just learning how to be a certain artist. So shout out to them. And shout out to my other management, Park House. We was rocking for a long time. That's Biggie and Blake, man. Go check their parties out. Really dope parties. But yeah.
For the people who love the controversy and whatnot, who do you think is the best lyricist in Detroit right now? Besides Eminem, obviously. You're talking about where we're at right now.
The best lyricist is me, but
for sure, that's facts. That's
by
facts.
far. But then I would say, you know, you gotta say Royce if it's not M or something like that. So I say like best. I say it'd probably be like Royce, somebody like that. Travis Chandler's dope. Yeah, they're those. I say they're the best. My favorite would probably be like Babyface Ray though. Babyface Ray, the style, the way he ride the beat, all that shit is hard. That whole clique, him and GT and Peasy, all that, man. I love their music. I love how they kind of like put their shit together. So I say.
Are you seeing anything from female artists?
Female artists, yeah. Cash Yard is dope. I fuck with Cash Doll. I like her confidence. You know what I'm saying? I know you fuck with Cash Doll. I'm sorry, my man. So he like, man, don't talk about her like that.
Shit.
But no, Cash Doll dope. Rocky Bad is dope. I like Jazar. She's an R&B singer. She dope as hell. Bianca Bad is dope. Nisha is dope.
Oh, so you're really paying attention to the scene, goddammit. Damn, you are really paying attention to the scene. Like,
Yeah,
you know
man.
everything. Shit.
Yeah, man,
You know,
I
you're
do.
saying names, some names people. So talk about, most of the time when they come on here, there's a lot of discussions, obviously, like they feel like it's male dominated industry and stuff like that. From your perspective, are you seeing it as that, or do you see it more as like, well, the entertainment's entertainment, whatever people value more entertainment wise is what pops off? Or are you seeing it there a reason that the male artists are dominating over the females for any reason?
I'd say just society in general has been kind of conditioned for us to try to put women in a certain place. And I mean, if you think about it, especially in, this might be controversial, but in European culture, if you notice that in America, black people didn't get right to vote until like a long time after they got out of slavery, right? Women didn't get the right to vote either until then. So this is this dude's mom. This is the president's mom, his auntie, his sister, his daughter. He don't even trust them to be able to vote. You feel what I'm saying? And that he lined them up with slaves, people that they thought was half of a human. So what do you think they think about women? His own woman. So it's like when you think about America or just, society in general, is been conditioned and beat into people to believe that women are, second, almost like, second class citizens. They're not, like the people who are gonna run things. And I think like that's changing. But at the same time, it's like, I think it's just kind of like how you go about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dave Chappelle made a good point. If Louis C.K. is masturbating on the phone, hang up the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you still on the phone talking about I'm traumatized? You feel what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck what are you doing? So it's the same. I feel like at the same time, it's kind of like, you understand that this dude has a reputation of being a creepy ass motherfucker who gonna try to fuck you for a feature. Don't work with him. Just don't. And then I know it's going to cut into what you think is going to be success, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's a lot of women who wouldn't, suck dick to feed their baby. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like it's an honor, too much to do that shit. So it's like it's depending on your morals and what you willing to give up for it. So it is male dominated, and it is a shame that women have to go through that. But I feel like some women kind of put themselves in positions to say, "Oh, well, I was done wrong here." It's like, well, you know the industry, so that's your choice if you want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? I know the industry, so it's like, I know they might make you do some gay shit or some crazy shit when you get to the Illuminati point or whatever. So it's like, I know my limits, where I'm going to go, where I'm going to pull out and say, I ain't going that far, I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that. So you have to know that when you coming into the industry.
There's disadvantages, obviously, historically for females in general. Now they're trying to hop into the game, and there's different ways that they can go about it. Exactly. Now they got to pay attention now which road they take. They can take the road of sucking dick to get to the top, whatever the fuck, or playing it the way that they just respect themselves a little bit more and go like, you know what, I'm gonna do it my way.
Right.
Unfortunately, there is a lot of bullshit involved with not being able to make it if you don't fucking please certain people or whatever the fuck it is. Right. But it's just part of, I guess that's just, even look at Hollywood. Hollywood is the Me Too movement for a fucking reason. There's a reason that this shit's happening. Yeah. But a little bit more off of that to kind of talk about your own special abilities, obviously, to dominate the microphone and shit and really entertain people when you rap. Now, there's a difference between somebody who can just fucking rap their ass off and somebody who makes it entertaining. So you obviously have both of those categories down. Talk about how you're going to use that for the future roadmap, the future blueprint to help you bring that out for people.
Knowing that I can write songs, knowing I'm up on the R&B industry, I'm up on a lot of different genres, it allows me to kind of be able to make, I guess what you would call hit songs, or songs that could be, played in the club and shit like that. So most people who do that aren't the best rapper, though. Most times the best rapper is doing another type of song. J. Cole is not making a lot of club bangers. It might end up banging in the club depending on what it is, but his main goal is not to be in the club. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like I can be a person who I can have a goal to be in the club, and when you hear it in the club, you're like, dog, he going so hard. I love this verse, you know what I'm saying? Rather than it just being, I love this hook because I'm turned up. It's like, I love this hook, I love this song, and whoever that is rapping is snapping. So like, my ability to rap as well as I do, I feel like it just puts me in another category, and I feel like that's how I'm gonna be able to use it, going forward. Is just kind of like, you feel me, like, when you hear this dude do anything, you know it's gonna be amazing. And when it comes to rap, it's gonna be the best. Nobody's gonna be able to beat him. You might outsing him, might outright a song, R&B song with him, but as far as like when it comes to rap, you're not gonna out rap this dude. You're not gonna beat him in a battle. Anything that has to do with rap, you're not gonna fuck with him. And I feel like that puts me in two different categories that kind of makes me a powerhouse, and that's what I'm kind of striving for.
Man, yeah, I agree 100%, bro. I see it all coming together like that. Now, I do see there's multiple sides to it, too. Like, you do entertainment stuff outside of music as well, right? Talk about other venues. You said you do acting now. Yeah. Or you've been doing acting.
Well, I majored in theater, and, like, I did some plays coming out with, like, Thomas Harris. I don't know if you know Thomas. Yeah, I did he directed a play, and I co-starred in it. It was called A Hero Within. That was dope. And then, but then I got into poetry and rap so much that I stopped acting. And then last year I ended up in a play. Shout out DJ. I ended up in a play with TJ Hempfield, and I played a Jamaican devil. It was so random, bro. It was so random, man. My name was Strife. Yeah, it was a random role, but I did well in it, and it was just like a reminder of like you are art, bro. Like, it made me have to, like, dig into that, that Kanye bag. Like, I'm art, you know what I'm saying? I know what the fuck I'm doing here, and I can do it in any sector that you put me in when I got to use words. So, some shit like that. And then I'm working on stand-up comedy. I've been working on that for, like, 2 years, just like a routine. And I got a cartoon coming out called Harold the Bear, and it's going to be fucking crazy. It's going to be a very hilarious show. And so, yeah, just working on shit like that to where throwing events, just getting into anything that's art related because I can do it. And it's kind of like, why not? Why miss out on the money over here and over there? Which is another important thing I just wanted to say is, like, as an artist, a lot of artists be saying, like when you were saying, like, it's harder for them to make it, women to make it. It's all determined by what you choose is make it. What is make it to you? You feel what I'm saying? And so as an artist, I know, like, I've paid multiple bills all the time off of my music. I didn't have a job for years. I just did music and poetry. But you wouldn't say I'm a famous artist, or you wouldn't think, oh, he getting the biggest check in the world. But I'm living in West Village. You know what I'm saying? Like, I live in one of the richest neighborhoods in Detroit, and it's not because I got some nice job or nothing like that. It's because I really work on the music, and I do so many different things. I'm getting checks from the Motown Museum. I'm getting checks from open mics. I'm getting checks from features, shows that I'm throwing. So it's like, it's allowing me to diversify how I get my cheese. And I think all that kind of ties in together, you feel me?
Yeah, it's crazy to think that just you have to be a millionaire in order for you to be a successful artist. It's like the dumbest concept in the universe. You can literally be making like $150,000, $200,000 a year, which is like, a little bit above medium income, middle class income, and be a rapper and be fine and chilling. You know what I'm saying?
Straight
like,
up.
I don't know why they think. I guess it's because of the presentation. Because like if you come out with jewelry and fancy cars and shit, but you make 150 a year as a rapper, then that image is kind of destroyed. Like you only make 150. Right. Like where's all that shit coming from?
Straight up.
But that's why you got to be smart and like if you're a humble rapper, be a humble rapper. Yep. You don't have to go fucking flashy and shit if you're just gonna fucking want to make that 150, 200,000. Not to say that's what you make, but I'm just giving an example to motherfuckers. Yeah, man, I agree with shit, man. Talk about what you're seeing in the scene that you might not be admiring so far in Detroit, as far as things that you think could be better or the direction it could possibly take a little bit more towards.
I feel like the men could collaborate with the women more. You can hear dope collaborations in that way, even cross genre, some more R&B singers on these rap songs, like kind of open up the door to making some more diverse music. Because I feel like a lot of artists that's in Detroit, we follow a rubric. You got different styles, but it's all one kind of rubric that you follow. And sometimes I'll listen to enough Detroit music in a row. I'm like, all right, you just said the same thing he said, like exactly the same. You said the same slang, same pattern, same type of beat, all of that. So it's kind of like, I feel like if people kind of stepped out of their box and collaborated outside of their normal pocket, they could create some shit that would be legendary. You know what I'm saying? I would love to hear Sada Baby on. I'm not saying Sada Baby doesn't go outside of this shit, but I would love to hear him on some shit with like Bianca Bad or something like that. Like I think her voice would go dope on something because she has like a aggressive style, and so does he. You know what I'm saying? And that would be dope as hell to see. So I think like you need some A&Rs around here, like motherfuckers that's gonna come to niggas and be like, hey man, you should work with this person like a Diddy does, and pulls that together. Because sometimes the artist is only gonna do what the artists want to do, but sometimes you pull them outside of it and you give them a little input on something else. You see artists kind of like flourish in different ways, and I'm excited to see some shit like that. And then just having originality, because there's gonna be a lot of young niggas that's gonna come up and be like, oh, if I just rap like Baby Tron, if I just rap like Scuba Steve, you know what I'm saying? If I just rap like Peasy, I'm gonna get on. And it's like, then you just get a whole bunch of the same thing over and over again. So I like to see, like, everybody step up and show some diversity, so the young niggas coming up can be like, okay, I gotta do a little more than just come in here and rap like everybody else.
That's what I used to say when I used to do my music review podcast. I used to tell them, like, you guys all have the same exact formula. It's just a different person. Like, you're all saying the same exact shit. It's just a different person. Like, you could categorize the guns, the drugs, the bitches, you know what I'm saying, pulling up on somebody, all that shit, and you just mix it up in a different, like, way in each song, and it's like, people are fucking with it. My theory was the instruments is what's really backing it up these days, and that a lot of these rappers that are coming on out of nowhere just really know how to ride that beat and kill it. But that's why I always want to shout out the producers of Detroit, because I feel like they're really the ones that are making it where it's like, oh, we're hearing the same exact shit again, but it sounds different for some reason.
Yeah.
I literally think it's the producers engineering a lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I like your input on it, and you've been on live with me a lot of times. I don't think I ever said anything negative about your music or gave you negative feedback.
No.
But you've seen people that I have went crazy on or whatever.
Yeah.
And you named a person, which is Travis Chandler, I believe.
Yeah.
That he fucking got super, super upset with me.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember why, but we had a discussion about it, got violent, then it got peaceful out of nowhere. Like, it just calmed the fuck down.
Yep.
Did you see that? And what is your perspective on that?
Man, I was watching it live, dog, because Chav, my homeboy, I known Chav for a long time. I was the first person I ever battled. Me and him battled, and we had an epic battle at this shit called the Arab Terror that Sheefy McFly used to throw. Shout out Sheef. And he just been a cool nigga ever since. But he's a very passionate person. So if he feel a certain way, he ain't gonna stop and be like, all right, let me approach it this way. It's just, nigga, this is how I'm doing it. And so I respect that about him, and I understand how that can be abrasive to certain people, you feel me, if you don't know him, you know what I'm saying? Or even if you know him, shit.
Yeah.
So, but I thought, like, his opinion with a lot of other people I heard saying, like, the whole culture vulture thing with what you were doing and, like, having Primo on and shit, like, it from an outside perspective, I can see how that can be seen, but it's not based off of what you're doing or your intentions. I think it's just a history in America with black people and other cultures coming and exploiting our culture or exploring past the culture, just our neighborhoods in general. You feel me? Like, niggas was going over and fighting in Vietnam and then come back over, can't get no funding from the government, and then they go and all the liquor stores and all the shops is owned by Vietnamese people. Or if you notice, it's a lot of liquor stores and the gas stations is owned by Middle Eastern people. So when you see that in your neighborhood all the time and these gas stations ain't clean, they fucked up, and no matter where you at, no matter how much trash they throw on the ground, this is your gas station. You supposed to make my neighborhood look nice no matter what the conditions are. So you make sure it's clean, or you make sure it's health food shit on the window instead of just blunts and 40 ounces and shit. But you understand that you've moved into a community that has been impoverished and been oppressed for so long, and then you see all of these people profit off of it and then move out to other places and nice houses and shit, and then we left with this condition, and then you add to it by selling expired meat in the grocery stores and stuff, because it's like, who's gonna listen to y'all anyway? Y'all the disenfranchised and impoverished people in America. So it's like, when you see that and then you break it down to a culture level, you know what I'm saying? And then their sons, is that the dude who owned the store, his son got on the same clothes you got on. He's saying nigga, he doing all type of shit. And you understand that, you see that, you feel me? And then now you like, so now you've infiltrated my community and you make money off of it. Then you infiltrate my culture and you make money off of it. So whenever you see that, you just might be a symbol of that to somebody. It's not that you doing that. What made me change it, my idea about that was when I heard you talking to Travis and you was like, no, this is my history and this is what I listened to growing up. I'm really a fan of this shit and this is why I'm into it. So I can understand that. But somebody from the outside just looking at it at a base value and then having Primo Beats, a white man on there, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would make someone feel like that when that's all you've experienced in America is someone stealing your culture, taking advantage of your neighborhood. So it's kind of like looking at it in a different perspective to where it's like, no, they ain't mad at you. Everybody's mad at that idea, and we feel it so much that it just comes out as soon as we see anything like that. Right. Just like if you old white lady in the suburbs and on the news you see niggas robbing people all day, as soon as you see her, you gonna clutch your purse. Right on. It's not that she just happens to be a terrible person. It's that the world is she's conditioned through that from society and what, how the world is. So I feel like that's where the anger from Travis comes from, or somebody else who's mad because it's like, who the fuck are you to tell me this? I'm tired of dealing with this. You can't tell me about my culture. Everybody's telling me about my culture. So it's like, I just believe, you know, at the end of the day, that's why it takes communication. It takes patience for people to sit down and kind of talk and get to know people on an individual level.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that perspective, man. For real, that's actually an amazing. I had a completely, that just opened my whole eyes to why this shit happens. I had a totally different perspective, and I'm not going to get into why I thought that happened. But I do appreciate that perspective. It's totally understandable. And I think anybody that knows me knows what's up. But at the same time, that's fucking very well put, man. Seriously. And I'm glad that you seen a little bit through that talk I had with him and got my point across. And like I said, I'm a guest to Detroit and a guest to the culture. And at the end of the day, I'm going where entertainment is. It's not really about who's where and what colors, who and where anybody came from, which I probably should get more educated in that aspect, but it never crossed my mind because I never really look at people by color or race or by ethnicity or by nationality or by where the fuck somebody grew up or anything like that. For me, it's just like, I want to be an entertainer. Where's the entertainment industry? The entertainment industry is here. Let me try to do stuff in the entertainment industry here because I love this part of the entertainment industry. People supported the things I was doing, so I kept doing them. And I loved doing it too. It was fun. It wasn't like I got to do this in order for people to like me. It was like, I love this idea. I'm going to do this idea. Oh, y'all fuck with this idea? Okay, let's do it. Keep doing this idea. Not this is Detroit. Not this is rap. Not this is hip hop. Not this is this person. I don't give a fuck about all that. For me, at the end of the day, it's like, I want to entertain people.
Straight up.
Where am I going to go? Ypsilanti? No. Detroit's where it's happening. I'm going to fucking Detroit. So suck my balls. But again, I do appreciate your perspective though. Because culture vultures do exist. My opinion, culture vultures exist outside of the community just as much as they do inside of the community. I think there are people who do witness ways that they can exploit the industry just by knowing the community and knowing what's going on in it and finding ways to profit off of that too. So, and I see that way more than I see people, I'm Chaldean, people like me trying to do that or anybody else. So it's like, you know, I think I do understand your perspective. I do respect your perspective, and I do agree with it like 90%. Not that I'm doing that, but to say that people do that. It does exist, and I understand why people have that preconceived notion about shit like that. But to move on from that, because it's not about me, it's about you at the end of the day. Man, yeah, like I said, super, super fucking talented. Super well spoken, and I definitely want to have you come back on here again. Is there anything on your mind just in general, as far as not even entertainment, just life? Well, it's one of those thoughts that just keeps reoccurring in your mind on a day-to-day basis that you think you could wanted to express to people on here?
Make my sons rich. I think that every morning when I wake up, I'm just like, I want my sons to not have to work. I hate going to work. I hate doing shit I don't want to do for people I don't want to do it for. I want these motherfuckers to be in a position to achieve everything they want to, and I feel like that's an attitude that everybody can have for just the people around them in general. And so that thought trickles down to, and I want my mom to go on vacation. I want my pops to be able to have his own music school. And I want my brother to be as big as me as a rapper. And I want all my niggas just on my team to get cheese and we get yachts. And you know what I'm saying? Like, those are things that I think about every day as motivation to try to, like, push myself forward. And then the other thing is just like, man, real talk, people just need to be themselves. There's so many people not being themselves that it's damaging shit. You know, kind of how you were saying with the culture vulture and exploiting from within the community. Man, like, I enjoy Detroit rap. I enjoy all type of shit. But I do want some diversity in the content. Like, our kids can't grow up and just hear pussy, bitches, guns, kill niggas, da-da-da-da, because it's not going to equate to anything positive other than money for the people who's doing it at that moment. And now you got a whole bunch of people thinking, oh, if I do that and I follow that rubric, then I can get money. And it's like, that's counterproductive to trying to, like, get out of the position that a lot of people are in. And we all come from that. So I don't understand why sometimes we tend to just harp on that and just do that rather than being like, well, let me throw in something different. You know, Biggie had, 10 Crack Commandments, but he also had, Sky is the Limit. You feel what I'm saying? Tupac had, Ride on niggas music, and then he also had Changes, and he had Dear Mama. And if we can have some more of that shit, I feel like, the world would be in a better place because we can be more diverse as people and just more caring about shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't care, and that's just past music in general. Like, we don't care about women like that, like we say we do. We don't really care about your fellow brother or your nigga or whatever it is. People don't really care about that shit. and we just try to act like it is for Instagram and TikTok and shit like that. And so it's like, if you step out of the social media and step into the real world and got to interact with niggas on a real life basis every day, like a doctor does, or a fucking firefighter or some shit that's really fucking important, rather than somebody who shake their ass on Instagram, or some motherfucker who just rap or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Even me, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's way more important shit out here than just like, you know, this shit that we just keep spoon feeding people and spoon feeding ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Because I do it to myself all the time. I got to catch myself. So it's like, if people just start being themselves and really like hone in on that shit, I think like shit could be a lot better. You feel me?
No, I agree. Beautifully put. And again, I think because, like you said, it's the people who are just doing it for the now to make the money now. Because I feel like, yeah, for some people that is their only option and it's working for them, so that's why they have to do it. But at the end of the day, the repercussion is the future generations having to listen to, no disrespect to the nonsense of some of the music that's being put out here, and they're digesting it, and it's some of it is just straight up nonsense. Even on the mainstream level, some of it's just like, come on, bro, I don't want my kid knowing wet ass pussy. Like, come on, bro, like this isn't, you guys. There was music in the '90s I listened to way more than I ever listen to now, and they didn't have to say none of that shit. But listen, man, we're kind of running out of time. I wanted you to tell everybody your future projects coming up.
Yeah, I got a project coming out with Aaron Green. Aaron Green's a dope ass producer out of Pontiac. He just DJ Khaled just shouted out one of his last productions, and then Ninth Wonder. A lot of people are really into his shit right now, and we got a project coming out that's about to be really fucking dope. It's gonna be called The Green Tape. I got a project with Royal House Records that's coming out. It's been kind of shelved for a minute, but we about to drop everything from that. And then I got a poetry album coming out called Paul Lawrence Dunbars, and that'll be coming out in fall, and it's going to be accompanied with a book. I got a lot of shit coming out, man. I got the cartoon coming out, doing some stuff with some different comedians, just a lot of shit. So just, you know, stay tuned to it. You know, make sure y'all tap into my social medias. Mike Phelps on everything, MICPHELPS, Pornhub, everything. I'm on everything. So, you know, like, rock with me.
For sure, man. I got to have you back on again, man. It was fucking an honor to have you on this. Man, everybody go check out my boy Mike Phelps. Like I said, man, the first moment I ever heard this man spit anything, I knew super, super fucking talented. I actually thought you were famous when I first heard you. I was like, let me look at his profile. And then I was like, he's doing cool, but damn, I thought you were fucking, because of how talented you are. And even just how well spoken you are, I'm like, this dude's beyond. But you are, like, to compare you with everybody else in the industry, like, if I can't even name another artist out, I'd want to put it up against you right now in the industry that could go against you, especially in Detroit, that you wouldn't be able to manage with. Like, you would be able to figure it out and do what you got to do to top anybody in the industry. But I appreciate you again for being a part of this, man. Everybody go check out Mike Phelps. We're out. Peace.